Mark, I tell you what, I've had a hell of a day today. I threw holy water on a demon to try and banish it back to hell. Lisa was fucking furious, and now apparently I have to apologise to her mum.
Oh, excellent.
Do you know the worst?
Excellent, man.
The worst bit is though, she had such a burst of like verbal obscenities that I took her to the doctors because quite obviously she's got Tourette's. She must have. So we took her to get tested. Turns out she hasn't got Tourette's, which means I'm a fucking arsehole who needs to get fucked.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You got a 2-for-1 this evening.
You did. You buy one, you get one free.
Before I forget, you want to die tonight?
Hypochondriac with asthma is in there.
I just lose all sense of equilibrium and I don't know what's happening.
I'm going to say 9 out of 10.
Always enjoy watching it every time.
Windmills were fire hazardous.
You literally used the paycheck to pay for a house. That's all it was for.
Meeting someone for the first time, you wouldn't be talking like that.
Because he was so stoned, he'd like half fallen asleep.
You and Tasha are meant to be. I'll figure that shit out.
I just got fired yesterday. I'm free.
I swear to God, I'm gonna stick that whoop up your asshole.
Hello, welcome to the show. I hope you've all had a wonderful week. It's only Tuesday, but I hope you've had a wonderful week so far. My name is Scott.
My name is Mark.
You sure? It was a long delay then. You sure you're Mark?
Mate, I was fluid as fuck. You were rapping and I was rapping on top. Are you having some audio difficulties?
Technical difficulties experienced on the You Run podcast. Anyway, this is the show completely run and controlled by you. We are the You Run podcast. We let you choose what we watch. We let you score what we watch. We let you give your opinions on what we watch. We even give you the option to call the show and tell us directly what you think of the movies and what you think of us. Can't ask more than that.
That's dangerous.
It's very dangerous. To call the show is really, really, really easy. In the episode you're listening to, there's a link. Click that. It takes you to where you record a message. Do it on our website, yourunpodcast.com. Or if neither of those options are particularly appealing to you because you're strange, you can do it also on Instagram by sending us an audio DM. And I'll take the audio from there and put that straight on the show. Each week we cover either a new release, a poll pick movie, or a straight up listener request. And today is a straight up listener request. But I'll tell you that a little bit more about that after Mark's told us who I need to follow this week.
Recommended account of the week.
So this week's recommended account is DreamKid83. I'm going to try something a little bit different this week. I'm going to try and add some audio clips into what we're doing. I don't know if we can get done for copyright or anything. Fuck this guy, man. We're advertising his account. He'll be fine. Dreamkid is a synthwave artist. I'm a big fan of synthwave music. Where are you on synthwave? Do you like it? I mean, it's like the real retro-y John Carpenter 80s synthy stuff.
I like it. I like it, especially when it's dropped over a movie that's got lots of neon and like synthwave over like, I don't know, something that's got the same kind of tone as Last Night in Soho. I'd love some synthwave in that, and that's kind of like a bit of synthwave in Fear Street Part 1. That kind of neon-y vibe. Yeah, I like that.
Well, this guy is neon drenched. This is his thing, and his reels are what caught my attention more than anything. He does stuff where he'll basically meme an audio. So he'll put like it's summer of 1985, and you're about to show everyone who's boss at the beach volleyball, and I'll play the audio for you now. This is what it sounds a bit like.
Yeah, all over that.
Yeah, and there's some other really, really cool ones. Let me find one of my favourites. So there's one that was amazing that got me in hysterics the other day. Where is it? Give me 2 minutes.
You need to send me the reels for these.
I will do. So this one it's Halloween in 1980 and something in your neighbourhood doesn't feel right.
Oh, man.
Man, it's killer. Honestly, it's killer. There's one that he did the other week about being chased by the cops, and I was like, that is awesome. I need to find it. How cool is that shit, man? But obviously he's playing all this stuff on the keyboard as he's doing it. You see him playing it. Let me find that Cops one for you really quickly. If you need to edit some of the sound out, you might have to. But let me find this Cops one because it's so cool.
Cool. I'm happy. So sorry, listeners, if you don't like this, but welcome to the You Run podcast. This is what you get. And I like this. You're really switching up recommended account. This is different. I like it.
Yeah. Oh man, he's so cool. He really, really is. And some of the stuff is great. And let me just. I could have been more prepared and finding whereabouts on his page that this cop one was, because that was the best one. It was so cool. It was like where is it? It was like 83, and it's like you're being chased by the police down an alleyway or something, and then he plays watching the sun go down.
Does he play
No.
And anyone who's listening to the show who then done the crazy frog noise, this is not the show for you.
You should stop listening. Yeah, he's going to say stop listening to the show, please.
Anyone who went a ding ding a ding 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 ding, you need to leave.
Right, I can't find the cop one because it's got a lot of content. But this is another one that was great. It's 1983, and you're getting chased out of your hometown by zombies.
Yes. Oh, mate.
Oh, mate, it's fucking awesome, honestly. I mean, this guy, he's got his own. You can buy his audio, you can buy his music. He's an artist. I don't think these reels are particularly something that he does to sell music, but this is the kind of stuff you're going to get if you follow this guy's page. And how cool is that?
That's awesome. Yeah,
yeah, there you go, guys. You've got some audio treats to go with you this week. This is Dream Kid. Just type in Dream Kid 83 on Instagram. You will find him. Show him some love and check out some of his stuff. And I'm sure his music's available. I haven't actually checked out any of his personal music. I'm only really basing my opinion on the reels and stuff. But
who cares?
Sometimes you're waking up in the morning and he'll put something out like that, and it's like I said, that cop one was amazing. It was like, oh yeah, it's 1972, and you're being chased down the streets by cops or something like that, and then it plays that, and it starts off real windy and low, and then all of a sudden the bass kicks in. You're like, yeah, man. But it's something I really liked about the Terrifier 2 we watched. That had a really synthy wave score to it. I mean, it's that kind of vibe, and this guy's really, really talented, so check him out. He's really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. They are brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant. And honestly, the context of the phrases and stuff and the music that
goes it all
with
fits.
It, if you're a fan of synth, you're a fan of 80s films and stuff like that, when you watch it and you read the caption he's done to the type of music, you're like, you have nailed that. That is perfect.
Really good. Are you sure this isn't Gareth?
It might be. I don't think this one's Gareth.
As I said, this is a listener request, and this is another listener request we received in January. I'm sorry, we will do better, is all I can say. This request,
you do realise it's nearly January again.
I do, yeah. This request comes from one of the show's biggest supporters. So this comes from Skellington Fan. She's a fabulous account on Instagram. It's at Skellington Fan. You need to go and follow her. She's been a guest on our show several times. If you just scroll back through our previous episodes, you'll see Skellington Fan or Skelly. And yeah, those episodes are banging as well. Quite honestly, she's awesome. And Skelly, apologies. It's taken me almost a year to get to this movie. I'm so sorry.
Yes, you can check her out on our first Evil Dead episode. She is with us on that one.
Yes, she is. Today we're taking a dive into the third installment of a franchise that I love. A period drama with time travel, demons, skeleton army, cursed books, and some of the most hammy acting ever to grace our screens. Not to forget the laundry list of one-liners, chainsaw and boomstick. If you haven't guessed it yet, firstly, again, same as if you said the ding ding to Crazy Frog, if you don't know what movie we're doing, this is not the show for you. I'm sure you've all guessed it, though. It is Sam Raimi's Army of Darkness from 1992.
In an age of darkness.
May God have mercy upon your souls. Something's wrong. Something's amiss.
And a time of evil.
You shall die!
When the world needed a hero.
This one was so innocent to die!
What it got was him.
Groovy. You know your shoelace is untied.
He's a 20th century guy.
For that arrogance, I shall see you dead.
Trapped in the Middle Ages.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. This is my boomstick.
Now, let's talk about how I get back home.
Foretold by a mystical book.
Within its pages are passages that can send you back to your time.
Forewarned by a wise man.
You must recite the words Klaatu, Berata, Niktu.
I got it.
Fulfilled by a wise guy.
Klaatu, Berata.
When thou misspoke the words, the army of the dead awoke.
Now he's got a date.
Give me some sugar, baby.
With the army of darkness.
You found me beautiful once.
Honey, you got real ugly.
Sound the trumpets. Raise the drawbridge. Drop the Oldsmobile. From Sam Raimi.
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
Director of Darkman. Comes Army of Darkness. They live. They breathe. They suck. Army of Darkness.
We always start with the listener scores, and the listeners have scored Army of Darkness a 9 out of 10. And do you know why they've scored it a 9 out of 10, Mark?
No, I do not know why they've scored it a 9 out of 10, I'll be honest.
Because it's fucking awesome, that's why. Our scores come later in the show. We've also got our thoughts and the most commented on meme to make you mad we have ever done. Ever. I got absolutely slammed.
Do I participate in this one?
No, you didn't. You didn't. And this one isn't even a meme to make you mad. This was just a meme that I truly believe, and I got absolutely torn to pieces.
Excellent.
The movie opens with a flashback to The Evil Dead 2, which is just how The Evil Dead 2 starts, with a flashback to The Evil Dead 1. We get to see Ash in his job at S-Mart, ShopSmart, before we get the tale of him going to the cabin and eventually getting sucked into the portal to medieval England, which is where we left off at the end of the second Evil Dead movie. Full disclaimer.
We do, but this is completely different though, isn't it?
Yeah, completely different.
Same as the first one, but
Yeah.
this one's a lot different.
Very, very different. And I love it.
You've got Bridget Fonda as his partner, haven't you? You've got Bridget Fonda as Linda.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Bridget Fonda
It
who
is.
plays Linda in part 2?
Mm-hmm.
It is, yeah. So she comes back for the opening of this.
No. She's not in part 2. I don't know who plays her in part 2.
So it's a new Linda.
It's a new Linda, yeah.
Because it's Bridget Fonda briefly at the beginning of this.
Yeah, it
right?
is. Yeah.
And then it was like the whole sequence is completely different to what happens at the end of Evil Dead 2. Because at the end of Evil Dead 2, he lands very shoddily, and then the knights in armor come in very shoddy costume, and then a deadite flies in and he shoots it down with his shotgun, and they all kneel before him.
Yeah.
This is very different.
It's very, very different. And I don't care. I genuinely don't care.
I kind of do a little bit.
Full disclaimer, before we go any further, I unapologetically love every single bit of this movie. I'm going to gush over every scene, every line, every camera angle, every boomstick reference. This movie, for me, big spoilers, is the best in the Evil Dead franchise. Mark does not share my love of this movie.
You're a fucking idiot. No, I'm done. I'm fucking done at all.
Which
it's such a ludicrous statement to make. There is no way you can call this the best in the Evil Dead franchise.
Do you know what is great?
As it stands now, this is the worst in the Evil Dead franchise.
Do you know what's great? All of our listeners have just rubbed their hands together and got its H4 all over again. But
this is literally the bottom of the pile of the Evil Dead franchise. Like, this is the bottom of the pile.
How can I say
Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead Remake, Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead Army of Darkness?
Yeah, anyway. Ash has been captured by Lord Arthur and is in shackles. And it's brilliant because he's missing a hand that he cut off with his chainsaw, and he could quite easily have pulled his hand out of the shackles. And instantly I'm already laughing. I'm like, just pull your hand out. It's just a stump. Just pull it out. It's not even holding you still. He's not been captured.
What would you do with a stump if you pulled it out, though?
That's for another show, I'm sure. He's not been captured alone. He's been captured by with Duke Henry the Red and some of his men, and they believe Ash is one of these men as well. They also took his chainsaw and his shotgun. They arrive at the castle where we briefly meet Sheila, who's told by Arthur that her brother didn't survive the battle and he fell to the Red's men. She then starts to beat the shit out of Ash, along with all of the other people in the castle. They're like poking him with sticks and like hitting him, and really rough as well. They're really
rough. Yeah, he's getting stoned, basically.
Yeah. They're really heavy-handed. I've got a fact about the stoning as well, which is brilliant, and I love Sam Raimi so much for what he done in that scene. They throw one of the men into a pit, it's a big hole in the ground in the castle walls, and we get the biggest fountain of blood spurt out ever. Great.
Yeah, the reddest of red bloods as well.
It is literally like someone's down there with the biggest bottle of tomato ketchup and just give it a good squeeze.
Yeah, I like it. I like this.
And I like all the added. So there's lots of added like After Effects sounds. So when they do this blood, it goes. It's fucking brilliant.
That sounded minging as fuck in my headphones, by the way.
We find out there's a deadite that lives down there, and this is who they're feeding these people to. And Ash is next. Ash gets thrown into the pit where he's attacked by a female deadite, and he's getting his ass kicked until the Arthur's wise man, who effectively say, when I watch this movie, this is King Arthur, and the wise man is Merlin.
Yeah, that's where I was.
Yeah. So Merlin throws down his chainsaw, and we get the cheesiest scene I've ever seen in the movie. Ash jumps into the air with his stump held high. The chainsaw spins down, lands perfectly on his hand, and then he gets illuminated in like this single spotlight of light. And it's fucking spectacular.
It is, yeah. But before that, the gates start closing in, don't they? They get there, the spiky gates. So Ash is sort of beating this little demon about and stuff. And clearly, King Arthur, quotation marks, if you will, he's like, oh, bring in the spikes. And the spikes start closing in on them both. Now, he could clearly walk around either side of these spikes.
Yeah.
There's a gap at either side. But
massive gap as well, not even a little one. You could drive a car through the gap.
No, not even like, oh, don't worry, it's just a case of the floor and the set design. No, there is like a 10-foot down the side of either of these spikes, yet they decide to Tyson and Fury in between the middle of it, as if to say, oh no, we're stuck, we better do it before the spikes close in on us, when they could easily just sidestep around.
Yeah, and he kills the female deadite. He severs her head. And then there's another deadite that comes out of the darkness, a male deadite that attacks him as he's trying to climb out, and he grabs hold of his leg.
This one was amazing.
Looks great. Sam Raimi's practical work.
It's like the bloated walker from The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
it's been underwater for so long, and they pull it out, and it's like bloated and
it's
it
oozing.
reminded me of it was like Peter Jackson's Bad Taste sort of looking thing.
Yeah, and this
really,
thing
really cool.
grabs his leg as Ash is climbing up the spot, and Ash takes his hand off with a chainsaw, and then like pulls himself all the way out back onto the surface. The bit that comes next is my favourite gag of the entire movie. I've seen this 1,000 times and I laugh every single time. Ash gets out, he struts straight up to Arthur and goes, hey man, your shoelace is untied. And Arthur goes, like, looks at him funny, and then looks down. And when he looks down, Ash just smashes him in the face as hard as he can. And it's just...
Surely these guys don't have shoelaces. Come on.
You cannot pick holes in the historical accuracy of this movie.
He stood there in armour. He's in a full armour suit, and he turns around to him and says, your shoelace is untied.
Yeah. Everyone had Nikes in there.
Fuck off.
So after he smashed him in the face, he then tells the guards to set Henry the Red and his men free. And they jump on their horses and ride out. And Henry the Red on his way out was like, "Thank you very much for your hospitality. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night." He turned into Mark as he left.
I did like Henry. I liked him at this moment as well. The way he laughs as well and like sort of fist bumps Ash on his way out.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, he's great. I like him.
Arthur gets up and he's then presented by like 3 soldiers run over and like present him his sword. And this is really cheesy and naff. But what makes it brilliant is someone in the crowd goes, "Sword fight!" Like you'd get at a school rap.
Dude, you know what I don't like about it up until this point is it's very fucking Monty Python-y.
It's so Monty Python. I think that's why you could, in this setting, you could drop Ash into the Holy Grail and it would work.
Yeah, completely.
And I think this is why a lot of people struggle with Army of Darkness, because they come off the back of Evil Dead 1, which is horrific. Evil Dead 2's got like an element of slapstick. And Evil Dead 3, they've just gone, let's just go nuts.
Well, I mean, you know my history with it. I'd only watched Army of Darkness 6-7 months ago, was it?
Yeah.
So I watched Evil Dead 2, and then you was like, no, go straight into Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
And I remember afterwards messaging you and be like, I hate you for doing this to me. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. And this is only my second watch of Army of Darkness since that experience.
I would probably say this is one of my most watched horror movies. I return to this
really?
once every 2 months, if not more. If I'm ever stuck for something to watch, this is where I go. This is my switch off my brain, mindless fun, chill out movie. I love this.
I get it.
Yeah. Arthur draws his sword and then gets the end of his sword shot off because Ash has now got his shotgun. No idea where he got it from, and I really don't care. But he's got a shotgun back, so happy days.
I was hoping you was going to draw attention to the fact that he didn't have his shotgun before this scene.
No,
I just thought if I bring it up, he's just going to pull me apart for nitpicking.
No. I can nitpick this movie something terrible, and I will. But it's fine. He then hits it with, "All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. See this? This is my boomstick." And then he gives the sales pitch from S-Mart about the shotgun.
Brilliant.
Tells them how much it retails for.
I loved it.
What aisle you can get it in. And
talking about what rosewood handles.
And like they've got a special offer. You can get extra bullets if you buy it today. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. They're so quirky and so quick-witted. I was like, that is brilliant.
I really wish that is... I really want that to be an ad-libbed line, but I can't find anywhere if it is. But I really want that to be just Bruce Campbell just being Bruce Campbell. I want that.
Do you know what would have made that so much more better would have been if, like, the tone of this was the same tone as, like, the Evil Dead or the Evil Dead 2. And then that was that one moment of just stupidity. It would have broke me. It would have broke me in half listening to that. I didn't be like... doing that monologue, because that monologue in itself is just fucking perfect. It's just so well crafted. Because the stupidity of everything else around it, it just kind of felt a little bit flat for me. As much as I appreciated it and did laugh my ass off with it, I'm not going to lie. I just think, you imagine that one particular scene in the first Evil Dead film?
Yeah, would be amazing.
Can you imagine the impact that would have had? It would have been hilarious. And it's not to take anything away from it from this film either. I just think...
Yeah, you think in the Evil Dead 1... You go from the tree scene into that monologue.
You'd just been on your ass, man. You would have been like, "This is incredible," and it is an incredible scene. And I don't want to take anything away from it because it is so clever and it is so well done. It just, I don't know, just everything else around it just annoyed me.
We get the one-handed Deadite now climbs out of the hole. And Ash spins round and shoots him with the shotgun twice, and he goes up and does like 85 somersaults in the air and then falls back down into the pit. And this is where everyone's like, he's the chosen one. And Sheila turns into Heather, And if anyone who's listening doesn't know who Heather is, that's our co-host on True Crime, multiple-time guest on this
Resident
show.
Twilight fan.
Resident Twilight fan and absolute Bruce Campbell obsessive. And Sheila goes full Heather and throws herself at Ash. Goes from hating him and hitting him with a stick. Really?
Yeah, I really like her as an actress as well. I think she's amazing. I love her. And she is in everything. She's in everything, and you never recognize her. And you're like, oh, holy shit, it's you. Because she's in 13 Ghosts. And she's
she is.
The delightful Mrs. Honey.
Yeah.
She is in 13 Ghosts. And she's the delightful Miss Honey in Matilda. Mrs. D, Mrs. I, Mrs. FF, you know.
Oh, my
Mrs.
God.
Honey in Matilda. Exactly. You never know where she is, but whenever she pops up, you're like, I really like you. Why do I like you so much? Because she's awesome and she's in everything, but you never recognize her.
My little head went bang then when I've just realised it's the same woman from Matilda.
Yeah.
Maybe
Matilda is Mrs. Honey from Matilda, and it's the woman from 13 Ghosts. She's amazing. I really like her a lot. She's an incredible actress. And
is this the next logical step for me to take my younger children from Matilda into the sequel, Army of Darkness?
I don't know. Maybe.
Ash wants to return home, and he's told that he can do this, but only if he travels to go and fetch the Necronomicon and recite the words Klaatu, Verado, Nikto. Ash agrees and sets off the following morning. First, getting it on with Sheila. We see a kiss, but we all know he banged her. Basically where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
100%. That's exactly yeah.
And like his lines, he's like, "Hey, baby." It's so naff. I'd love to know if those chat-up lines worked when this come out. Did that work in 92? Hey, baby.
Not for me, it didn't.
Did it not? Did I not just make you wet, Mark?
Oh, man, I just did a little mini sick in my mouth then.
Before setting off the wire... Mark is moist and not before setting off the wise...
Let's not do this.
No, let's stop. Before setting off, the wise man reminds him multiple times of the words to make sure he gets them right. And we're literally, it is hammered home like in Monty Python. It's like, you must say this. Ash like, yep. He's like, you must say this. Ash like, yep. He's like, say the words back to me. And Ash is like, look, fuck you, guy. I know exactly what I'm saying. Leave me alone. I've got it.
Yeah. Have you completely glazed over the fact that that evil granny just turns up in the castle?
I did, yeah.
You completely did. It's the most drag me to hell scene I think I've ever seen in any film. This is clearly Sam Raimi's drag me to hell whole idea.
Yeah,
Make up everything about it. This whole drag me to hell.
Yeah, and I completely forgot about it. Do you want to take us back and do it, or should we just keep going?
I'm not really a fanboy about it. I don't care.
Okay.
It's just important for me to mention.
Okay. Well, now you've highlighted an error I've made. Thanks. We'll continue. Broken spirit later.
Fuck you.
Ash begins his quest for the book. And I'm dying. Ash begins his quest for the book and is chased by unseen forces into the woods. This is the same camera work from The Evil Dead and The Evil Dead 2. This is the camera on a bit of board with some bungee cords and they just run through the forest. It looks great, and they've added the addition.
I really appreciate that.
Trees breaking as well, which I thought was cool.
I was really glad that they brought this back full circle and utilised it again, because it was one of the stronger points from the first two films. And we've just come off the back of Tremors. And something that they do in Tremors is a similar sort of point of view thing, but I just don't think anything does it as good as Evil Dead 1 and 2. And it was nice to see it used again here.
Yeah, and this is kind of... Raimi created this technique, and he uses it a lot. I'd say, in most of his movies, he will use this at some point. He used this in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
I didn't notice, did he?
Yeah, very, very briefly, there's a scene where Doctor Strange is up against, the weird octopus tentacle thing in the street.
Oh, early on, yeah.
Yeah, and you get
after the wedding.
Yeah, and you get the scene where the camera spins round to the POV of the monster, and you get just a brief kind of like bouncy scene towards Doctor Strange for it. Flips back round to Doctor Strange. I thought it was really cool. I love that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that is cool. That is cool. But
did you just turn into a sheep? You went, bah.
I said but then I had nothing to back it up. So carry on.
Bah, bah. We'd have a moist sheep. Ash is chasing. Ash is chased into a windmill. Once he gets inside, he smashes a mirror, and on the floor you see the small shards of the glass or the mirror, and each one of them has got a mirror image of Ash, and they all climb out of the mirror in something you'd expect from Gulliver's Travels or The Borrowers. So these things are about 3 inches high. And Mark, you can take us through this, because I imagine this scene you have many issues with.
This is where you're wrong, actually. No.
Oh, really?
I take issue with everything. Yes, I take issue with everything prior to this scene. I'm not really a big fan of period set pieces. I don't like Knights of the Round Table. It's not really my area of.
This is coming from the biggest Lord of the Rings fan.
That is going to tie back in later on. We are going to get very deep into Two Towers. When we get later on into the final battle, we are going to talk Peter Jackson's Two Towers in depth.
Okay.
But when we get to that point, we're saving that for later. But yeah, as you have briefly mentioned, I am a massive Lord of the Rings fan. But I don't like this whole Monty Python Knight of the Round Table kind of thing, and I didn't like it at the early stages here. But once we reach this point of the windmill and we hit nightfall, I love this film, and it pains me to say it. And the first time I watched it, I hated it. I was so thrown off guard coming back off such a fan of the first Evil Dead, and then watching the second one and being like, wow, this is really, really cool. I'm not quite comfortable with the humor aspects, especially being a big fan of the first, so it was weird to see the humor introduced. But I went with it, but then it just went so far left field with this third one, and I couldn't get around it properly. But when I went into it this time around, I kind of knew what I was getting myself in for, and I was on board. I was prepared for it. Still didn't like the first bit, but as soon as we hit nightfall, when he gets to this windmill, I was like, it's go time. And I was like, This is amazing. So Bruce gets in, Ash gets in, the mirror breaks, these tiny little mini ashes start bursting out of each individual piece of glass, and I don't really know how to describe the tone of this next sort of 10-15 minutes. It's like a sketch show. And these mini ashes try to take down the big Ash, like you say, in a Borrow-esque kind of way, tying him down, pricking him, and Ash is like slapstickly trying to take them down, throwing mini forks at them and pinning one of them to the wall, and
depending on what,
culminating in Ash being tied down.
Yeah, and depending on which episode or which version of this you watch, there's a bit where Ash is chasing one of them, and you get it a POV from Mini Ash, and he's singing "London Bridge is Falling Down" while stamping his foot trying to squash him.
Yes, you do. That was the version I saw.
Yeah,
that's the version I saw. Weird as fuck. Eventually, this culminates in Ash being tied down to the floor, and one of them takes a high jump straight into his mouth.
Yeah.
Ash, not really knowing what to do in this situation, drinks a kettle of boiling water.
Hot chocolate.
To burn it out.
He says it's hot chocolate.
Is it hot chocolate?
Yeah.
Is it hot chocolate he gets off the stove? Is that a thing? Is it in back in the day? Hot chocolate?
Yeah.
Before we have the import of chocolate, we have hot chocolate? Right,
yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. Right. So he drinks this hot chocolate, apparently, in order to try and burn out Mini Ash that is now inside of him. I don't know where to go with this second head thing, so I'm going to let you take this.
So Ash notices there's an eyeball growing on his shoulder, which is one of the best effects ever. This thing blinks and looks around.
Evil, eat your fucking heart out.
It's so good. And then from here, a second head grows, and Ash kind of stumbles outside of the windmill. And then as they're fighting, he's fighting himself. This head grows into part of a body, and you get a scene with a three-legged Ash, and then they kind of separate. and you get good Ash and evil Ash. They fight.
Practical effects are amazing with his second head.
Really, really good. They fight,
so cool.
And the fight is what you'd expect from two Bruce Campbells going at it. It's slapstick, it's silly, and it ends with Ash dismembering him and throwing him in a hole. And there's the dismembered head going, "You're going to regret this." And Ash, like, "You got something on your face. Like, what's that?" And then just puts a big shovel of dirt.
Yeah, very funny and very silly and very childish.
Very childish.
But it works. It works. But the thing is, as well, it takes a much more horror centric tone in this Nightfall scenes, and I think that's what I was missing from the first sort of half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour. Like it didn't feel like a horror film to me. But once we get to the windmill and we get all this darker, sort of
weird,
freakier stuff happening, just more Raimi being Raimi, away from the fact that he's trying to establish a world in a time that doesn't really suit this character. And although it has its comedic moments, it feels a lot more grounded at this point, and it feels a lot more in the direction I would have liked to have seen this taken. So from this point on, everything seems to sort of fall a little bit more into place for me.
Yeah, and after he's done away with Evil Ash, he heads off to the graveyard where you find 3 versions of the Necronomicon on a stone. The first book he opens is like a sucking whirlpool, and it sucks him in and he drags himself out. And this is some of the best practical effects ever. So as he comes out, his chin is being sucked down, and that is quite blatantly, it's a CGI effect. And then when he pulls away from the book, he's still left with the ridiculously long chin. And he kind of like shakes his head.
It's like a scene out of The Mask.
Yeah, it's really cool. And he like shakes his head and it shrinks a bit. And he shakes his head and it shrinks a bit again. And then he's back to normal. And he's like, "Oh, well, I'll try the second book." The second book, as he touches it, it bites him. And he has a fight with like this. It's like a bat. It's like a bat book that he like throws it away, and it like the book starts flapping like wings and then swoops in to attack him again. And he eventually gets that one back down on the desk. And then he goes for the third book because he's realised by his great powers of deduction, the first 2 fucked him over. It must be the third one. And what he also remembers is he needs to recite the words. Mark, can you remember?
But why didn't he recite the words before he picked up the first 2?
I don't know. Maybe they were all the book. He just needed to do the words. Can you remember the words?
But he doesn't want to pick the third one up because he doesn't want to pick the third one up because he's like, "Oh, I can't pick it up without reciting the words."
Yeah,
that's the whole point. He has to recite the words before he can pick the book up.
Yeah,
but he quite blatantly just opens the first 2 books without saying anything. I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing?"
So maybe if he'd have recited the words, the first book he picked up would have been okay.
Possibly.
Yeah. Can you remember the words?
No.
So
you remember the words? I'm asking you because I know you've got them written in front of you.
Yeah, I'm scrolling back through frantically to find them. It's Klaatu Verano Nicto.
Klaatu Verano Nicto.
Yeah.
I'm remembering that now because I feel like that might come up in a quiz later on.
He gets the words. He gets the first 2 words right, and then he gets to Nicto and he's like, "Nimno, and he goes, "Okay, Nimno," and then just picks the book up and then pauses and looks around and goes, "Okay, I got away with that." And as he starts walking away, like thunder starts clapping, the earth starts shaking, and skeletons start popping out of the cemetery. This is really
all the graves start flying into the sky. I love the set design of this cemetery as well because it's that I don't even know what you would describe it or class it as. It's like that really shittily put together paper mache set.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like it's purposefully shit, but works, if that makes sense. It's really hard to describe, but
they've made no effort to make it look good. It is literally, you could make these headstones in your garden with a bit of paper mache and some grey paint. That's the level this set design's at.
It looks like a Tim Burton graveyard, but done with paper mache.
Yeah, and I don't like stop motion. It's well known I don't like stop motion. And I don't think there's any other option Raimi had with his budget but to use stop motion. And the reason why it works is they're supposed to look shit. Raimi committed to making this look shit, and he was fully on board with that because it fitted the tone. So I forgive all the stop motion in this because it looks shit, but it's meant to. Raimi's like, let's do some shit stop motion.
I like it.
Yeah, I love it.
I really fucking like it. I love it.
Ash escapes the cemetery and rides back to the castle as the stop motion skeletons come out of the ground. We also get Evil Ash is resurrected. So a bolt of lightning hits his grave and he's up and he's like all mangled face now, and he looks cool as well. Really, really
He's
good.
He's played by Campbell as well, isn't he?
I don't know if he is.
He is. I've done my fucking research, man. You should know this. You should know these facts. Campbell plays him as well.
In which case it's even better. Ash gets back to the castle, demands to be sent home. The wise man's like, did you say the words correctly? He's like, well, yeah, kind of, basically. Yeah, I said the words. And Ash is intent on leaving. Like, he's like, I don't care. The guy's like, you fucked us all over, we're all doomed to die. And Ash is like, get me home. I don't care. And he only changes his mind.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I don't really give a shit about you and your 16th century England. I want to go home. And he's like that up until Sheila is kidnapped by the worst looking deadite in the entire franchise.
Yeah.
I get
point, really.
The thing is, I get it. Sam Raimi wanted a flying deadite. I understand. And I would love a flying deadite when we get Evil Dead Rise, something that flies up and down the outside of the tower block, all over that. But I'm sorry, it looks shit.
Yeah, but did you go back and watch the end of Evil Dead 2? Did you see the flying deadite that comes in that he shoots down with a boomstick in order for everyone to kneel at him? That is fucking terrible.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's really...
It's almost like the same sort of fucking gargoyle.
Yeah, it's piss poor. It's really, really bad. After Sheila's taken, Ash gives a rousing speech to the soldiers. He gives a rousing speech to his shoulders, to the soldiers.
I wouldn't be surprised in this film, I'll be honest.
And says they can win this. And reluctantly, all the soldiers agree. And then we get an 80s montage, which is brilliant. We get bomb making, we get an armoured car, training of the soldiers, and all of the information to make all of this 20th century technology lives in the back of his Oldsmobile Delta 88 that come through the portal with him. There's like some handy books in there. He's like, what's he got? It's like Chemistry 101 and like how to make something else. It's so just naff.
Why would he have this in the trunk of his car?
He wouldn't, but he required to have this for the script. So Sam Raimi, let's lay a couple of books in there. We also get in this montage, we get a look at the Deadite army now that's fully risen. And we see that Sheila has now been turned into a Deadite too. Do you prefer normal Sheila or Deadite Sheila?
Normal Sheila.
Yeah, I'm with you. Deadite Sheila looks really weird. From here, if I'm honest, we kind of slip straight into the final battle, which is...
No, we stripped straight into Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings Two Towers.
Yeah, which is absolute pandemonium.
It is scene for scene the Two Towers. You've got him sliding down staircases like Legolas and everything. If you play these two battle scenes side by side, they are exactly the same.
So what you're saying is Peter Jackson is a huge fan of the Army of Darkness.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm saying to you. Based on his Brain Dead or Dead Alive, yes, there is no denying that he is a fan of the Evil Dead. I think there is actually a fact out there somewhere that says that he is that much of a fan of Army of Darkness that he was inspired by the battle scene in this for Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers.
It is. I see what you, even the bits where they're all stood on the top of the castle,
and then hold.
Yeah,
Exactly the same, man. If you stuck Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli in them scenes, man, you would not know no different. I'm telling you.
That's a movie I want to see. Gimli and Bruce Campbell in a movie together. Gimli and Ash go on a road trip.
Even just like these moments where like they breach the side of the castle where he runs in with the fucking, and you've got the thing where they're banging down the door with like fucking Grog. It's called Gron in Lord of the Rings, but they're barring down the door and they're all hold the gate.
Yeah.
And then one of them runs in, one of the skeletons runs in down the side with a bomb to blow in a little tunnel so they can come in through this. It's fucking Lord of the Rings Two Towers, man. The whole scene is Lord of the Rings Two Towers.
And it's great. It's amazing. Absolutely brilliant.
And I love the skeleton army. This is Jason and the Argonauts, and it is so fucking cool.
Yeah, the skeleton army are amazing. And like, so all they're trying to do is they're trying to get in the castle. They're using battering rams. And why they're doing this, they're being hammered with explosive shots of bow and arrows. They're getting these rain of fire from catapults that have got homemade explosives on the end. It just looks great. It's so good. In the middle of this battle, we get Deadite, Sheila, and Ash, which again I thought was great. She's like, I thought you thought I was lovely. He's like, you got really ugly really fast, and then throws her off the side of the castle. We also get the final scene between Ash and Deadite Ash, Evil Ash, whatever you want to call him. This is just fucking who could outdo each other with the best one-liner, mixed with some great practical effects, like when Ash burns his face off, and you get
and he comes back as a skull. It's like Terminator 2 sort of Terminator exoskeleton kind of thing.
But with
awesome.
But with eyeballs.
Yeah, with eyeballs. Yeah.
I tell you who he looks like. Do you know who Jeff Dunham is?
Yes, the guy with the puppets.
Yes. So this character looks like Ahmed, the dead terrorist. I kill you.
Dude, be careful with that shit.
I am just telling you a character that is created by someone else and uses some of his lines. Stop touching me! Evil Ash does get the Necronomicon, but he's kind of pushed off the castle wall and he lands on a catapult which has got a big wadded explosive on it. Ash knocks the book out of his hand before sending the catapult flying, fires Evil Ash into the air, who explodes like a firework, and it even makes the
yeah. Oh man, honestly.
Ash is told he can return home by drinking a potion and reciting some words, which he does. There are some variations on this ending depending on which version you watch. They're all basically the same, but there's some slight differences. So I'm going to go through the version that I've watched, which hopefully is the same one you've watched. So Ash is now telling this story to his co-worker in S-Mart, and his co-worker is Ted Raimi.
He is Ted Raimi, Sam Raimi's brother.
Which is amazing. And he's saying, no, they wanted to make me king, but my place is here at S-Mart. So, if you were in 16th century
My
England...
question to you was going to be, what would you do? Would you go back, or would you be drenched in babes and beer and have everyone be like the hero, the saviour? Or would you go back to working in fucking Tesco's?
There's no question I would be a king in 16th century England.
Too fucking right you would. What is this guy doing?
Yeah, I'd be known, especially if I was single like Ash, I would be known as, in history books, it would be Scott, the womanizing alcoholic of the 16th century.
Mate, I could be married with children in the new day, mate. I would be staying put.
We get a Deadite attacks Ash in the most crazy shopping trolley ride-in fight with a shotgun, where this shotgun has got infinite ammo, like something from Predator or like
it's
Commando.
Ridiculous. It's just like pow, 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 pow. What are you doing with that? That's a single barrel shotgun. You have one shot in that thing.
It's so good. He eventually kills the Deadite. Then a girl's like, I heard you telling the story and heard you could have been king. And then he grabs her, like flips her over, kisses her, and he's like, just before he kisses her, he's like, hail to the king, baby.
Best line ever.
Yeah. Credits roll. I said this is a guilty pleasure, and I know it's been tormenting for you to watch it twice. Don't worry. That's why I've got a quiz to make you happy.
Dude, seriously?
So it's not a quiz, it's a fun game.
Always open up with, don't worry, mate, it's fine. I've got a fun quiz for you to play. That was like my best Southern accent I could do, by the way.
Took north.
That was the most Mary Poppins thing I could muster.
Ash is famous for hitting us with one-liners. That's kind of that character's thing. So I'm going to hit you with some Ash one-liners and a couple of my own one-liners, and all you need to do is tell me if it's Ash or if it's me.
Oh, this is going to be painful. I can feel it.
There's a few. It's not that bad. Right, are you ready?
I think so.
First one. Look, maybe I didn't say every tiny syllable.
Ash.
That is Ash.
Saxonus, commonly called ash, is a genus of flowering
plants. I fucking told you about this, cunt.
It contains 45 to 65 species of usually medium.
Alexa, silence. Dude, honestly.
That's 2 weeks in a row now.
I mean it, mate. They're scary as hell.
Alexa interrupted me on news last week, week before last, and then now interrupted you.
Yeah, man, they're out to get us. You've got to be careful.
Maybe she wanted to play. Right, next one is Yo She Bitch. Let's go.
Ash.
That is Ash. Baby, I would, but I'm more than you can handle.
That's definitely you.
That is me. Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Ash.
That is Ash. You're doing really well at this one. Give me some sugar, Sheila.
Ash.
No, that's me.
Who do you know called Sheila?
No one, but hey. Give me some sugar, baby.
Ash.
That is Ash, yeah.
Well, that's just like the slight variation. That's cheating.
It is. Groovy.
Ash.
That is Ash. It's just my groovy pillow talk, baby. That's all.
You.
That is me. And the last one, hot chocolate for you.
Ash. And I would have already known that based on the fact that you just told me.
The one-liners literally don't stop in this movie. Evil Dead 1 or 2, there's a couple, but this is Ash full on. But they're not just from Ash, and this is what I love. So you get them from like the soldiers, random people. You get them from the skeletons. So one of my favourite is like the knights at the beginning, and one of them's beating the life out of his car, and angrily he goes, "What kind of armour is this?"
And the skeletons do have some parlors as well, though. The skeletons are hilarious.
My favourite one of the skeletons is as he's running after Ash, he's like, what is it he says? I will cut your gizzards off. It's the perfect level of comedy for me. This is, if anyone wants to know what I want out of a horror comedy, this is kind of it. I want it to be so silly that it makes no sense, but it's just constant funny. If you like us more than Mark likes Evil, well, this version of the Evil Dead, if you like us more than Mark likes Army of Darkness, do us a favour, give us a review on Apple or Spotify. It makes a huge difference, and I say that a lot. So to give you an idea, about 2 months ago we had a splurge of Spotify reviews, and we broke into Spotify's top 50 TV and film podcasts. And that was from like 6 reviews. So if you're listening and you've not reviewed us, review us, because it makes a huge difference to the show.
Zoinks! 3-word reviews, man!
As you would expect, we were absolutely fucking overwhelmed with 3-word reviews for this movie. They came from everywhere. We got Witty458 on TikTok. Fucking awesome film. Dewey the Pod Monster, the King, baby. He's a podcaster. The Horrors Within, Bloody Brilliant Groovy, and they're a horror merch account. I like this one. We've got Strange Form, Klaatu, Barado, Nikto. They're a YouTuber. Rob's weekly contribution, as always, really good. Medieval Zombie Madness, and he's the 80s horror lover on Instagram. Katie from Spaceman of the Dull podcast shares your opinion. What the fuck? She's not a
That
fan.
was my first watch opinion. I've changed slightly. I've grown. I've grown as an audience since then.
Zaphod, however, doesn't agree with Katie, and he hit us with fucking groovy, baby. And finally, Heather would absolutely kill me if I didn't feature her in this episode somewhere. She gave us 2 3-word reviews because one wasn't enough because Bruce Campbell's in this movie. How many 3-word reviews do you reckon she'd give us of Twilight?
We should do a Twilight episode and get Heather on it.
Yeah, if you want a Twilight episode with Heather on it, call into the show. If we get, should we say if we get 10 calls? Yeah. When we get 10 calls, we will get Heather on to do a Twilight movie.
Yes. And we'll poll which movie. But then again, no, because then I'll have to. We'll do the first one because I ain't watching any further than the first.
No, I think it'll be better if we do one that's like completely out of context and you have no idea which one it is. We just like 4.
All right, okay, yeah, we'll let you guys pick.
Yeah, you could choose it. Heather went with Bruce is Dreaming. Anyone who doesn't know Heather would literally sell her soul for a couple of hours alone with Bruce Campbell without him being able to get away or do anything that she didn't.
To put it into some sort of perspective, Heather is heavily pregnant now. She is due to have a baby boy in the couple of weeks.
Yes, she is.
And she is naming her boy Ash Bruce. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Campbell. She's naming him Campbell.
Campbell Ash or Campbell Bruce?
Campbell Ash, I believe.
I believe. Apologies, Heather, if we have got that wrong. We do pay attention, but we are men and do tend to forget the minor details.
Yeah, coming from the man who doesn't forget anything.
No, I don't forget locations of things.
Oh, okay.
I'm a location rememberer, not an actual conversationalist remember.
I'm really excited for her. I'm really excited. I'm really pleased for her. I can't wait for her to have her baby. She's had her pregnancy has been like every day. She's like, I'm so tired. I'm broken. I just want this baby out now. I want this baby born. And I it's not long now.
She's desperate for wine. Bless her. But to show how obsessed with Bruce Campbell she has named her newborn son after Bruce and Ash Campbell, which is going to be immense.
Yeah, that kid is going to be the fucking coolest kid in school.
Too right, he is.
Who are you naming?
Hail to the king, baby.
Yeah. She'll also hit us with "Yo, she bitch."
Best line in the film.
Yeah, and the "Yo, she bitch" takes us nicely into the worst edition and the most bitchy edition of memes to make you mad. I really made people angry this week. Really.
What did you do? I usually catch up on this, but I have no idea which meme you're talking about.
So it's completely unintentional. I put a picture of Laurie Strode, Nancy Thompson, and Sally Hardesty, and below them I added Jenna Ortega, the goddess that is Lauren Lavera, and Mia Goth. And then I put the caption, "There's no need to pass the torch. We're taking over."
I shared that to my story because I thought it was that cool. I was like, oh, yeah, awesome.
It's a statement I believe, and I'm not going to change my mind. However, the rest of the internet let me know pretty quick that they disagreed with me. There's a few. So we had Slasher82. I think this post is trash. We had
your words, will you?
No, we had Cesar CH 74. No, why? And we had Doreen Yates. No. Halloween Dude. No. Skellington Fan. Hell no. These remakes will never have the power of the original Final Girls, and that's Skelly who we're doing this episode for. Thanks, Skelly. We had Void Thing. No. And that was like block capitals and lots of exclamation marks. Ghostface 2K20. This is the funniest thing I've seen all day. Exclamation mark, angry face. Then we had Slasher Crave, who went with no, and then not satisfied with no, commented again to make sure I fully understood they disagreed. I went, absolutely fucking not.
I liked it, man. I liked the post. I thought it was pretty cool.
And we've got one more, which was kind of the final nail in the coffin when I stopped looking then, because it was just a barrage. Comes from an account called 9996667, which I'm sure is like a dodgy phone number somewhere. Because when you look at that account, it's not the sort of account that follows us.
Right, okay. I'm going to check that out immediately.
And they just put, fuck no.
Wow.
So, yeah, lots of people fanning over the originals and don't like the fact that the world is moving forward. And I'm sorry, they're all getting replaced, like it or not.
I kind of agreed with you on that post as well, mate. I'll be honest with you. I liked it.
Which is rare. Into facts.
No, facts, no.
You're going to like this one, and you're going to YouTube immediately after we finish recording, just to find it and save it for later. All 3 Evil Dead films can be seamlessly cut together, and this cut exists on YouTube. So what they do is they take out a bit of exposition at the beginning of each movie, and they make some adjustments to 1 and 2 to make it play as an entire seamless thing, start to finish.
That's cool. That's cool. I would watch that. How do you perceive 1 and 2?
They're meant to. 2's a remake of 1. That's how
is that where you are?
I know that's not how it's intended, and 2 is a sequel, but it's not. It's the same movie again, just done better.
See, I don't know. I kind of buy into the sequel idea.
Yeah.
When you think about how the ending of the first one and the introduction into the second one, if you do cut out the exposition and Ash flying through the trees and waking up in the puddle, it kind of works.
Yeah. And I've watched the cut where they're all together. It's really, really good. And it's all they've done, like for the cuts between movies, like fade to black, fade up, fade to black, fade up. It's really simply done. But where they've taken it, they've probably taken, I don't know, 30 minutes across all 3 movies out.
So what you're talking? You're talking maybe like a 2.5 hour runtime.
2 hour 40, something like that. And it's great. It's really good watch, and it actually makes Army of Darkness, the way they cut it in, makes a lot more sense, because he literally goes through the portal. They cut the bit out at the end where he shoots the thing down, so he goes through the portal and then he's in shackles. You see all the knights run up.
I think you should make sure you share the link for that then when you do the promo for this episode, because I'd like to check that out. Yeah,
definitely do. In the back of Ash's trunk of his car, where he's got the Chemistry 101. There's also a copy of Fangoria, and this was a thank you from Sam Raimi for them featuring the original Evil Dead in one of their earliest episodes.
Oh, I didn't notice a copy of Fangoria.
Did you not? No, it's literally he takes out the 2 books, and under the 2 books is Fangoria. And
that's cool, because they do that in other films as well. I think it's Friday the 13th Part 3 was the last one that I picked up on.
Seed of Chucky. Chucky sits in the bathroom and masturbates to Fangoria.
Yeah. It's everywhere in horror films. I mean, that fair play to Fangoria.
Oh yeah, brilliant. What do you think this was called when it was released in Japan?
I don't want to get cancelled, mate. I ain't getting involved in this question.
This was called Captain Supermarket.
No way.
Yeah. I said about when he gets stoned at the beginning, all the people are throwing stones at him. Yeah. So all of those stones, all of those rocks are fake. Sam Raimi wanted a more realistic reaction out of Bruce, and he thought it'd be really funny. So he handed half of the people throwing rocks potatoes, and then joined in throwing potatoes at Ash. That's the cut that's used.
Man, how closely friendly are they? They're like best friends, aren't they? Raimi and Bruce.
Yeah. So when you watch that scene again, there's a bit where Bruce goes, that is a Raimi thrown potato that hits him in the side of the head with quite a bit of force. So good. And the thing is, off camera, you can imagine Raimi's just in hysterics, just lobbing potatoes at his mate.
Yeah, too right.
It's
I
like
hope one day we get to that point. If your film does well, can I be an extra and throw potatoes at you in the sequel?
in the second. Yeah, okay, fine. S-Mart is a real chain of grocery stores in New Mexico.
Oh, really?
It's a real shop.
I thought this was like a rip-off of like Kmart. Is it Kmart's the big one in America?
Yeah, and in Mexico, S-Mart is a big rip-off of Kmart, but it is actually a shop that exists. The first Deadite who Ash fights in the pit was affectionately dubbed Pit Bitch by the cast and crew. Also, Ash had that actress in costume prank Sam Raimi and scare him, causing him to fall over into the water at the bottom of the pit.
What, Raimi himself fell over?
Yeah.
What, just like jump out and...
Yeah, jumped out and like screamed at him, and Raimi fell over into the water, which Bruce thought was fucking hilarious. In The Return of the Jedi, but he didn't think we were going there.
No, what the fuck?
Jabba the Hutt, some of the Jabba the Hutt's employees, or two of Jabba the Hutt's employees, are called Klaatu and Barada. There is also a species called Nikto, all mentioned in Return of the Jedi.
That's awesome.
Really awesome. Bridget Fonda, as we mentioned earlier, is Linda, but that's not my interest in fact. My interest in fact is Danny Elfman, who obviously famously done The Nightmare Before Christmas. He composed March of the Dead for this movie.
I saw that in the credits.
Yeah, where he met Bridget Fonda and then later married her in 2003.
Yes, and they're still married to this day.
They are. What a legend that man is.
Yeah, I like Danny Elfman a lot. I really do like Danny Elfman.
Incredibly talented musician, and gets to spend his evenings laying next to Bridget Fonda. Well done, sir.
Bridget Fonda is not Bridget Fonda anymore. I've seen a recent picture of Bridget Fonda, but still, very, very attractive lady. Fair play.
Yeah. As you're going to probably put this on a low, I'm going to let you round this up first, and then I'm going to end us on a high where I sing its praises and clap and maybe even sing. I might do a Heather, a breakout in song.
To be honest with you, mate, no, I'm not going to bash it. As I've said earlier on, I'm not a big fan of period pieces. I didn't particularly like this the first time round. I found it very jarring coming off the back of Evil Dead 2, coming into this. It didn't sit very well with me. Having to watch it again for a second time for the show, knowing what I was getting myself into as I went into it, I kind of found myself getting on board. I still don't like the first half at all. I think the first half is weird. It's not an Evil Dead film at all, and it just doesn't land well with me. I don't particularly like the handling of Ash's character either. The moments where he's in the castle and he's been draped over by women and fed grapes, he's such a dick. He's such an arsehole. Like, he's not an enjoyable character. I don't like him in that moment at all. Where things take a turn for me is the moment when he's being chased through the forest and we get the POV camera work following him. And night falls, we get creative set design, we get creative creature design, we get a more of an online Evil Dead film than we had prior to those moments. It feels a little bit more in keeping. And it makes a little bit more sense with the plot coming through the time warp hole. Everything seems to be falling more in line with an Evil Dead film. The comedy is very slapstick. If you are not a fan of slapstick, this film is not going to be for you in the slightest. And for me, as somebody who likes slapstick, I just don't necessarily like it in an Evil Dead film. It didn't work for me. It was just a little bit too much. It could have been dialed back a little bit, which would have made this a little bit more palatable. But again, second time round, I knew what I was getting myself in for, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I just think practical effects work were amazing. Score was amazing. Storyline was amazing. It was a very well thought out plot, a very well established story, and it all rounded off well and came together quite nicely. I just think this is a film catered for teenagers. I think if you're growing up as a horror fan and you are maybe 13, 14 years old and you find Army of Darkness on a shelf of one of your parents' films and you watch this, you are watching this every day for the rest of your life. And if I'd have grown up and found this at 14, I would be probably sitting here right now about to give it the same score that Scott is probably going to give this. I didn't have that experience with this film. This is something that I've discovered in later in life, and it just doesn't sit too well with me now as it should have done if I'd have discovered it as a younger adult. But this is perfectly catered to those sort of people who have curiosities about horror but aren't quite ready to dive into full horror, because it's very childish, it's very slapstick, very silly. And if you grew up with this film, you've probably burnt out about 3 or 4 copies of this on VHS. I don't like the ending as well. I just want to touch on the ending. I don't like the ending. I know there's an alternate ending of this where he says the words wrong and wakes up in like 1940s London or something like that, and he screams no at the top of his lungs. That would have been a much better ending for me. It would have been more in keeping with the character. It would have been better suited, and we could have had the adventures of Ash through time, which I think would have worked better for this franchise going forward. You could have had multiple films with him ending in different timelines by the end. Which I think would have worked much better for this character, considering the direction they chose to take it in. But as a whole, on my second watch, 20 minutes in, it's a fucking great film. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. And if you can get past that first 20 minutes, if you have the same sort of feelings towards it as I do, it is great. It really is great. And there is a lot to appreciate and a lot to enjoy. Score-wise, I'm going to give this 3.5 out of 5.
Okay. That's scandalous, but okay.
It's not. It's about right.
Unpopular opinion, this is the best in show in the original trilogy. I love Evil Dead 2013 equally to this, but this is, of the original 3, this is the best. I love the goofiness. I love the full commitment to this stupid, goofy tone. I hate stop motion, but in this it fits because Sam Raimi went out to create subpar special effects. All of his practical effects, where you've got the deadites, all of that looks great. But I look at this and he went out to make crap set design. He went out to make crap effects. He didn't give the time and dedication he could have to the stop motion. It's really clunky, and I know it's deliberate, and for that I appreciate it. What I love most about this movie is it's almost got like a Jackass kind of feel to it. You can tell this is like everyone on set is just friends, just having a laugh, and this is Sam Raimi completely indulging in spending a studio's money and not his own or his dad's or Bruce's uncles or whatever they had to do the first 2. This is, you've got a budget of X and Sam Raimi's gone, good, and I'm going to spend every fucking penny of it. And like, I get the feeling like there's certain scenes in this where I think they turned up on set with the intention to do something, and then Bruce went, wouldn't it be cool if we done this? And Sam Raimi went, have we got that in the budget? Oh, great, yeah, let's do that. And I kind of get that feel like a lot of stuff changed on the fly. It was very much like, oh, well, we're here. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do this. And I love that. Faults and all, based purely on enjoyment. I'm not critiquing the movie. I know it's a bad movie. I know it. I'm not crazy. I know this is not.
I thought he was going to lose all credibility then for a moment.
No, I know this. This is not an Oscar-worthy movie. This is not a cinematic masterpiece. Based on purely on my enjoyment and the amount of times I watched this throughout a year, I can't, in being honest to myself, I can't score it less than a 10 out of 10. I absolutely love it.
So you are the person I've just described. You've grown up on this. You have found this VHS as a young adult, and you've just rinsed it and watched it daily. Yeah. And I get it. I get where your score's coming from. And if I'd have found it at the same time as you did, I would probably sat here doing the same thing you are.
Yeah, it's. And I put a poll out. So I put a poll out asking where people ranked this, the best, second or third. It was one of 2. It was either the best or it was third. It was never the middle. You didn't get a single vote for in the middle. People either absolutely unforgivingly love it or they hate it. And it's like, no, this is shit.
I mean, to be fair, out of the 4 films, it's a solid franchise. So what is your ranking of all 4?
I don't know. I'd probably put this and 2013 first, number 2 second, and the first Evil Dead last.
So you work quite opposite then. So mine is number 1 first, 2013, number 2, and then this. But that's not to say that this is a bad movie because it's at the bottom. That's just the order that I would rank them.
Yeah, the first one, I'm not a huge fan of the first one.
That was my sort of the same era you picked up on this. I picked up on that.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot for people. Is like when you discover a movie will shape how you love it. It's like I discovered Jaws at an early age and fully understand and accept that is the best shark movie ever made by miles.
But it's not, and you know that Deep Blue Sea is a lot better. You know this, sir.
No, I don't. If you want to watch this, it's available in the UK on Sky and on Amazon. There's also a free copy on YouTube. In the US, you can rent this everywhere. But like I said, it's free on YouTube. So if you go and rent it, you're stupid. Don't do that. It's free on YouTube. All you need to do is go to YouTube and type Army of Darkness, and the second thing that pops up is a full version of Army of Darkness. Watch it there. We're back on Friday with some news. And next week, I now fully understand that the listeners hate me. I fully understand they hate me because what happened is we put a poll out. No, in fact, let's go back. Probably about 4 weeks ago, I said to Mark that I hadn't seen Idle Hands. And I agreed I'd put it in a poll. And the listeners hate me because it won that poll. Not just winning the poll, but knocking out Dot to Sleep in the process. I'm not happy. Idle Hands better be fucking spectacular, I'm telling you now.
Idle Hands is fucking outstanding.
It needs to be. And we're joined by a new guest to the show. We're joined by Jordana of Pretty Killer Podcast. And she's going to have some takes on this movie. She's got some views on this movie as well. I think this is going to be Mark and Jordana possibly against me because I've not seen it and because I'm being forced to watch it when I could have done Dr. Sleep. I'm going in like angry.
I really, really think this is going to be your wheelhouse. I'll be honest with you. I think you're going to love it. And if you don't love it, then I don't know you at all.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens next week. Mark, as you promised the listeners last week, then you failed on news immediately after.
No, because that was the same week. Stop doing me dirty. That was the same week. This is a new week.
So it's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new week. Where's our movie quote from, Mark?
That was literally my quote.
Fuck off.
No, it's very similar, though. Right, that's it. We'll see you on Tuesday. And after all, tomorrow is another day.
What is that from?
That's not the point. I'm not supposed to tell you. The listeners are supposed to guess.
Oh, okay, well, listeners guess, and you can tell me off the air because I'm just going to go to Google if you don't tell me. Right, we'll catch you all next week.
Cheers, guys.
Before I forget, you want to die tonight?
Hypochondriac with asthma is in there.
I just lose all sense of equilibrium and I don't know what's happening.
I'm going to say a 9 out of 10.
Always enjoy watching it every time.
Windmills were fire hazardous.
He literally used the paycheck to pay for a house. That's all it was for.
Meeting someone for the first time, you wouldn't be talking like that.
Because he was so stoned, he'd like half fallen asleep.
You and Tasha are meant to be. Y'all figure that shit out.
I just got fired yesterday. I'm free.
I swear to God, I'm going to stick that wolf up your asshole.